Tonight we're going to be talking about this concept of platform presence, and I thought I'd throw in just a few extra little pieces of material here. Platform presence. Oh, should I be signing? Oh, yes! Sign. Oh, I forgot. Oh, where are my notes? Where's my Bible? Oh, no! I've got to go and speak to those people, and I don't know. Oh, I'm so nervous. Okay. Not really. Okay. Oh, tonight. Hi, welcome to Eagle SOAR. We're going to be speaking about this idea of platform or standing and speaking presence. And we'll be explaining tonight from this book. And this is our 101 series, and it is number 7, Platform Presence. And you'll see this, and let's see, have a picture of it right here. And we'll be going through several things in this booklet tonight. You can search for this at the Silent Word Ministries store, and it's 101-7. And this will be a very helpful idea for people who interpret, for deaf people who stand and teach, for deaf and hearing preachers, for hearing teachers. If you stand before other people and teach or preach or interpret, this is a very helpful idea. We're going to start with a Bible verse, and the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 40, it says, "Let all things be done decently and in order." The word here, decently, that word has the idea of properly or uprightly or the right way. Everything should be done so that it does not offend other people. Everything that you can do, you should do so that people will look and they will be accepting of your message. And so the Bible explains that we should do things decently and in order. All right. Another verse that talks about Jesus and says that he grew, it says here in Luke chapter 2, verse 52, it says, Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man, in favor with people. As we begin, we're going to talk about these 4 ideas and how Jesus is the example of us. This one verse puts out 4 different things that are very good. First of all, it says, well, I'm going to switch the order of them, okay? So it says, favor with man. This means social. This is the idea of how people get along. It's for sign language, it means if you are a hearing person and you're signing here, learn their signs. Now understand, sometimes hearing people learn signs from a book or from a college, or maybe a friend teaches them a sign. Several things can happen wrong. Maybe they learned the sign wrong. Maybe they misunderstand the sign. Maybe the sign in the book is from a different place. The book was printed in a different place. One example of that, I saw one book that I really liked, that book, sign language book. And I liked that book. I taught from that book. But one sign, park. Now, if you know the sign, park, well, there's a couple of things. You can take a car, pull it in, and park it. There can be a parking lot. There can be a place that you pull into to park. But this was talking about like a national park or like a place that people will go to have picnics. That's another sign, picnic. so many different signs. I spelled it wrong. Nick. I can't spell it right. Picnic. Okay, picnic. And so many different signs for the word picnic. Well, that sign, park, I saw it. It was like this, park. I went, what? So if a person copied that sign and signed it to deaf people in other places, they would not understand that sign. That was from the Statue of Liberty. It was in New York. And so that was the park. Oh, I get that. But it's not good in other places. So when we borrow a sign from other places, don't use the other place signs. Use the signs that are in this area. Now, if a deaf person is from New York and he comes down to Georgia, he needs to change his signs to match Georgia's signs. And that's very normal to do that. Also, for hearing people, learn deaf ways. We talked recently about deaf culture. Learn what deaf people are like so that you can match and be good and help the needs in the community of the people to whom you're speaking. And so we always ought to change and adapt. We ought to grow and learn more how we can be social with people. It's not just talking about being friendly, but that's involved. And so that's one of the things. Then the second thing we'll talk about is stature, or your body, your physical things. When you're signing, when you're standing up, presenting to a group of people, it's a good idea to plan beforehand to get plenty of rest, to have your brain calm, to have your body relaxed. When you stand at the first time, when you stand before the people, it's a good idea. Breathe. Now, you don't have to do it big like that, but just before you walk up, breathe. The recent 5 minutes before you speak, breathe. Maybe you need to walk around a little bit. Help your body to relax and be ready to present. Also, with your body, you need comfortable clothes. Clothes that will not be too tight on your body. I have noticed some preachers will stand up and their neck, their tie is just too it's too tight and it's hard, and you can see veins popping out. You can see that it's not comfortable. It's a good idea to have clothes that are comfortable. Now, with that idea, shoes. Have on shoes that you can easily walk in, that you can easily stand in. If you're an interpreter, buy shoes that are good for interpreting. I think some of the ladies just said, "Oh, husband, he just said buy new shoes." Maybe you need to buy new shoes. One place I was there, and it was so funny. The interpreter brought and on they wore nice shoes. Maybe it was high heels, a little bit of a heel, and they would do that. And then they brought slippers. They brought slippers and put those on. They kicked off their shoes and put on the slippers so they could stand comfortably. Do what you need to, but be comfortable when you're standing there in front of people with your clothing. And then avoid distractions and stress. Before you stand up is not the time to try to solve problems. By the way, let me say this. Your pastor has a lot on his mind when he's preparing. He's thinking about a lot of things right before he speaks. Don't bring problems to the pastor right before he speaks. Wait till he's finished. Wait till the next day and then talk to him about big problems. Now, if it's an emergency, yes, we understand that. But don't try to distract. He needs his mind calm. And you as a teacher, you as an interpreter, you as a preacher, deaf, hearing, whatever, you need your mind calm and not distracted and not stressed out. So physical things. very important. Then also we see spiritual. Now, really, spiritual is very important. It's third in our list, but it's very important. And that is, if you're going to preach or teach or even interpret in church, and here at Eagle SOAR, we're talking about church interpreters, you need to pray beforehand. Pray that God would give you the right signs as you express. Pray that God would use your hands. And really, if you're a hearing person, you're using voice. If you're a deaf person, you're using signs. But pray also that the Holy Spirit would go through your voice or go through your signs so that you are not really controlling these things, but you're allowing Him to use you. So many times it's happened when I finish speaking and someone will come up and they say something and it's like, I didn't plan that. But they understood from God was touching their heart, and I wasn't trying to manipulate or anything. They were in touch with God, but it was through something that I had said. And every speaker in church who is in touch with the Lord understands that and has that experience. Also remember, love the people to whom you're ministering. You're not just standing up and interpreting like this. I've seen interpreters before stand up and they're just interpreting. It's just routine. It's just normal. It's a habit, and they just interpret. Love the people that are there. Church interpreting requires a different way of thinking than interpreting in court or interpreting it for the doctor. And each of those are specialties, but church interpreting is also a specialty, and there are different requirements for that. Also, as thinking of spiritual things, if you are a leader, lead spiritually. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't just tell them to do something and then you do something different. You be a leader. You do what's right, and people will notice and people will follow. Have a burden for the people that are there in front of you. Don't just stand up and talk, but have a desire to help them so that it's clear that God's word is clear in their heart and in their mind. Then also be alert to what some needs are. And I'll just say this, as you're interpreting, the pastor is able to see the faces of people in front of him, and you are the church interpreter. You are the deaf preacher. You are the teacher of the Sunday school class. And as you're standing there and you're watching people's faces, you noticed some needs. Be alert to that. And it's not like interpreting in court where you cannot get involved. In church interpreting, you have a place as an interpreter, yes, but if you're a teacher or if you're a preacher, then there's something that's a need there, then you need to, if it's the right place for you, if it's the right authority for you, if the responsibility is yours, then you have that responsibility. Take it and be alert and help those needs as you can. Now, it takes great wisdom. So the things that I'm saying, don't just kind of like jump in. I'm always afraid to say something like that because some people will just take it and run with it, and it's like, that's not what we meant. So use wisdom. Understand that as we're talking about these things, there's so much more than just these little bullet points. If you have questions, ask your pastor. Is it all right for me to do this, this, this? And he will help you in the process of your interpreting or teaching or whatever in the deaf ministry. And then also we notice wisdom, and that's your personal things. This is you need to use wisdom in the way that we proceed. We need to be professional, look good, do what's right, be appropriate, do the right thing. Don't just jump. So many people jump, and so be careful and appropriate as you proceed with your responsibilities. And then also, we talked about clothing before, but Also, have the appropriate clothing on. Different church situations require different clothing. And what is right for the clothing? Wear that. Do what's right. I have a rule for myself. If the speaker has a tie on, I wear a tie. If the speaker has an open shirt and no tie, then I'll be fine. I'll copy that. Maybe the speaker has short sleeves. And, well, I tend to not like short sleeves when I'm signing because I think it's a little bit distracting. So I'll wear long sleeves. But I would try to be appropriate in your clothing with the style, with the colors. By the way, colors are very important. If you have dark, black, brown, dark skin, then the clothing should be more light. If you have light colored skin, then the clothing should be more dark. And so it's easy to see from a distance so people can see. One time I was leading music in a deaf congregation, and we had about 200 deaf people there. And I was leading, and my skin was a little bit tan, a little bit brown. I had on a coat that was tan, a little bit brown. And somebody, after we finished and I led the singing and we were done, somebody in the back after the service came up to me and said, "Wrong color coat." They were right. And so I did not use that color coat for big crowds after that. Even for small groups, I did not like that color again because it was just too much the same, and it was hard to see the hands. And then your appearance, your grooming, your eyes, ladies, your makeup. If you wear lipstick, the way that you have your clothes. Are they neat? Are they right? Make sure that your that word mannerisms. Some people have different ways, like, and if you're interpreting along and you're doing that, people are saying, "What's wrong?" Or maybe a lady with the hair coming down like this is always going like this. Or a man is going. Or maybe a person is like that. Or maybe you're always straightening your tie. Funny thing, guys, if you're straightening a tie, you're probably going to mess it up. Look in a mirror when you start, get it straight, and leave it. Okay? So, but try to have wisdom in your personal, your face, your clothing, your appearance. All right, let's move on. In sign language, when you're standing in front of a group, now, I'm not going to teach about how to sign tonight, but these are different things that will help you as you stand before other people as they watch. First of all, sign naturally. Don't jerk your signs around, I'm just signing like, relax. Relax your body. Carpal tunnel. I have noticed not many deaf people get carpal tunnel, but many interpreters get carpal tunnel. Why? I think it's stress. I think it's the hands. Now, I'm not a doctor. I just noticed this and it's like, could be. I don't know. But keep your hands relaxed. When you fingerspell, relax. Don't. It's hard on your hands. Make it look natural, very, very natural. And then the size, your signs. If it's a small group, then you can sign here. You can sign just like I'm signing with you right now. But if we were signing with a large group of people way out here, the sign should be bigger so that it's easy to understand the signs. You understand what I'm saying? Talking is different than speaking to a large group. And so the size, this big or smallness of your signs. Your expressions. Before, when I would lead groups of singers, and I would be up there conducting, and I learned something that is very interesting. If I want them to express and to use their face, I had to, more than them, I had to be very expressive so that they would copy, and their expressions are going to be less. So when you're signing in front of a group of people, your face is going to feel like it's too much, but it's not. So go ahead and use your facial expressions. Most hearing people are afraid to use their face. Maybe the number one complaint against hearing interpreters is that they don't use their face. They just sign, but their face is blank. Use your face, use your expressions, use large expressions, and sign clear. Aim for clarity, whatever you do. Here's some other things. And all of these are in this booklet. They're in the book. We're just going through a few of the things tonight in the booklet. Here, remember everyone. Don't just sign to one. Oh, it's my favorite person. I'm going to sign to them now. No, remember all of the people that are there that you need to sign to. Some have different educations. Some have different signs. Some need special emphasis. Some may be tunnel vision, or maybe they can't see clearly, and you need to remember those people. If they can't see clear, don't walk around. Stay in one place. Then the next thing is visual. We talked about this before in some of the lessons, but if you can see it, you don't need to try to figure out a sign. You just show the thing. For example, if you're teaching a class, use charts. Use pictures. Use projectors like this. Use a TV screen or a video projector or something. Use a whiteboard where you can write on something, and you spell a name. If you're teaching a class and you spell a name, write it up there so people can see that. So next time you spell it, they can see it. And maybe you can draw these little stick figures. I'm a lousy artist, but the little stick figures, they help people to understand the motion and who and where and all of these different things. And so use visual things that are clear and easy. Interpret the meaning. Now you'll notice through the series here as we're teaching these classes that we've talked about meaning over and over again. Meaning, over. We say that word because, why? It's important. Communicate the meaning. Don't just sign words only. Something else that helps. Pauses. Now, interpreter. Maybe your pastor, he's just talking, but every once in a while he'll pause a little bit. Pause yourself. Hold. Wait. Maybe he pauses for 1 second. You pause for 2 seconds. Look like you're in control. Pause. Hold. If you're the teacher or the preacher, realize they can't understand fast. They understand at a slow pace. That's true. People don't just take everything in like really fast. People don't memorize that fast today. And one preacher came up to me. He was a young man. He said, I've noticed that you're an older preacher. I thought, oh, thank you. I think I'm older. Okay. He said, what advice would you give me when I preach? What would you tell me? I told him, he preached like a machine gun. He was preaching, and it was just like, ah. And I told him, I said, you can preach fast, but they can't listen fast. Slow down. That's good advice, by the way. So as you're teaching, teach slowly. Teach one idea every time that you teach. Don't try to teach like 10 different things. Teach one idea. Maybe you'll have 10 supporting points in outline, but you have one main idea that you're going to teach. And then repeat. And you'll notice in the classes here, we've repeated. Why? To help people to understand clearly, to remember the important things. Now, direction. I'm not talking about which way to the store. Let's talk about direction for a moment. We have something called directional signing, and it's more than this word placement. Of course we have this. You put this here, you put that there. This person's over here, that person's over there, and they're looking at each other, and this is and the placement. But a big idea is this: put on the right and up, put God, good, heaven, Jesus, Bible, different things like that. Good things. On the left and down, put here Satan, hell, evil, bad. All of these things, the bad things. So you can make a contrast. It's not just here and there, but it's up and it's down, and just like the hands are doing here, this way or that way. It will help make it clear. Now, we've said this before also, that if you're talking about God and He's there, take your eyes and find one place right there on the ceiling, and you're looking at that place, and when you talk to God there, your eyes go to that one place always. So that it doesn't happen that you go, here, God, oh, I love you, God. Oh, God, you're my favorite. It's like, no, that's a different person. So be careful that you have everything in the right place. Did I say this before? Slow down. You should never sign more than 80% of your skill speed. Sign slowly. It's all right. I'll tell you a story. It's a true story that happened in California. I won't tell you who, but we were in a church in California, taught sign language there in the church, and one of the interpreters learned sign language in January. You say interpreter? Yeah. It was amazing. This person began to learn and to study. She looked it wasn't online at that time, but there was a TV program on cable, and it had sign language, and she was watching it. It was a college class, and she was watching that. And then she went and she took another class, and in January she learned sign language, and she had an idea. And she said, this fall, September, I'm going to go to the college and I'm going to apply as an interpreter. What? Really? Oh, okay. But that was in her heart. That's what she was doing. And really, she was a very clear signer. And so she applied, and there was a deaf man that I knew. I knew this man. And he told me, she is my favorite interpreter in college. I said, why? She said, she's slow and clear. The other interpreters would just all of the words and all of the books and everything, and they just fire it out like that, and it would go over people's heads. That true story helped me to understand you don't have to sign fast, but you can slow down, listen, interpret, and sign normally, or sign clearly, sign the meaning so that everything can be understood. Here we're talking about platform presence. There are several things we talked about here in the book. There's so many more things that will be helpful to you. I'd encourage you to get that book. But the main idea here is sign within your ability. If you're new at interpreting, new at signing, new at preaching, new at teaching, any of these different things, it doesn't matter if you're deaf or hearing. It doesn't matter. Ask a person, say, would you please take notes what I do good and what I do bad, what I need to improve on. You take notes for me. Now, when you're preaching, you're teaching, you're interpreting, don't look at that person. You'll get nervous. But after it's finished, maybe the next day or that night or another time, you sit down with that person and you let them critique you. And you will notice that your signing skills and and abilities will greatly improve because that person is helping you to improve in ways that you didn't know that you were making a mistake, but now they're helping you to improve. And so the goal when you present, especially in church interpreting, when you present the Bible, when you present spiritual truth, the goal is clarity. The goal is to help people to understand what you're signing. If you're signing and nobody understands, you might as well not be talking. You need to sign clearly. You need to make your presence so that people will accept your presence. You need to do what you can do. Pray. Get the Holy Spirit to fill you as you go and serve Him. And serve Him humbly. Sign within your ability, and it will help you greatly. Again, the booklet here is called Platform Presence. It's available here at Silent Word Ministries, and we want to be a blessing and a help to you. Remember, sign language. Sign language. Silent Word Ministries is here to help you in your ministry. And so please contact us, and we will also be praying for you as you improve. We don't have a lot more classes here in this season of Eagle SOAR. There will be a limit, and then we will pause for a while, and then we will start again with season 2. But for right now, keep watching, enjoy, and learn. Put your comments below, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Eagle SOAR.